welcome to my channel. Today we will be performing a 3 on top with a mid bald fade on my good friend Matt here. First things first, you want to put a neck strip on your client. This helps make a protective barrier between your client's skin and the cape. You want to be completely sanitary here, so it's always good to have neck strips around. So just put it around your client, snap the cape close, and fold the neck strip over. Make sure your client's very comfortable. You don't want the cape, you don't want him being choked by it or whatever. We will be taking a 3 guard closed and going over the top of his head. You'll be hearing closed and open throughout this video, so I will show you what that means throughout the video. So this is just a rough draft, so you want to take the 3 and go over the top of your client's head and just try to get it as even as possible. Next step is to make our first guideline. This is my WAHL balding clipper. We will be taking the bald about halfway up your client's head. For mid bald phase, I usually like to go a little bit above the ear and go straight across the entire head. Make sure it's perfectly symmetrical because you don't want an uneven fade. So you're going to take the bald and just work your way around your client's head. Make sure you take a step back and look at your client's head to make sure that the guideline is perfectly even all the way around. Make sure you have a brush or comb in your hand at all times during the cut. You don't want to leave any stragglers or strands hanging on your client's head while you're cutting. And brushing the hair cleans up the cut and gets rid of the hair so you can see where it's blended and where it's not. Don't worry about getting your guideline perfect on the first try, because you can come around and clean it up as much as you need to, because you'll be going around the head the entire time and you're going to be blending out anyways in the end. Next, we will be making our second guideline. We'll be using our Oster fast feeds open. What I mean by open and close is open is when the teeth of the clipper are furthest away from each other, so they're not cutting as close. You'll be using the little black lever to be going back and forth between open and closed. Next, close is when the teeth of the clipper are closest to each other and they'll be cutting the hair closer to the skin. You'll be making your second guideline and you'll be using the Oster fast feed open, and you'll kind of eyeball it. You want to look around the head, and usually I make my second guideline about an inch or so after the first guideline. So you just take this and go all the way around the head and take a step back and make sure that it's all even, and make sure you brush the hair as you cut. Now we will be blending out the first guideline. So you'll get your Oster fast feeds closed and just go back and forth between open and closed, maybe mid half open, and you're just gonna blend out that first guideline. Make sure you brush the hair, and also the guideline still might be there, so you can go back to your WAHL balding and use the corner of your clipper to get that last little bit out. Like, you might not be able to see it on camera, but you can definitely see it up close in person, and you want to be as very detail oriented as possible. So continue to just blend it out and just keep working it until it blends out. Go back and forth between all your clippers. Next, we will be taking our 1/16 open and making another guideline across the head. And once you make that guideline, you'll be going back and forth between open and closed to blend out the line. Next, we will be taking our 1/8 guard, which is the number 1 clip, and you'll do the same thing that you just did, but just go a little bit higher. So you will be taking this, going open, and go across the entire head And when you are done with that, you will close it and start to blend out the line underneath it. And make sure you continue to brush the hair after blending each time to ensure that there are no little nicks or extra strands of hair. And then you just continue to work out the guidelines and blend them out. Next we'll be taking our 3/16 guard, which is the 1.5 clip, and you just repeat the same steps that you just did for the past 2 other guards. Just raise it up a little bit higher, and as you reach higher into the temple, you want to have a softer touch on the hand so it starts to blend out. Getting close to the last step, we'll be taking our 2 guard, which is the 1/4, and we will be using that to blend all the way to the top, which is the 3. And as you can see here, I'm going more towards the inside of the head so that it blends into the 3 guard. You don't want to just go straight up on this one. You want to just use the flick of the wrist and use your own personal judgment and touch on the hair. Next, you will be taking your 3 guard and just going over the top of your client's head again to make sure that it is completely even on all around his head. So make sure you brush it, comb it, do whatever you gotta do to make sure there are no extra hairs lying around. So now I'm just gonna go back and touch up some dark spots that I see. I'm taking my 1.5 clip right here, and I'm just opening, closing, touching up any spots I see around the head, which you should do. Make sure you always take a step back and look at your client's head. You can always see something that needs to be fixed, and just keep doing that with whatever you see. Now we'll be going to the lineup. I'm using my Andis T Outliner. And for the left side of your client's head, you want to reach over the top, especially if you're right-handed, and you want to hit that edge. So I usually use the corners of my blade to get the final touches on the blend. Using the corners of the blade gives it a more gradient look. And so you don't want to cut off the corners of his hairline, otherwise you won't be able to see the definition of the lineup. And just continue to work around the blend, going back and forth between open and closed, and just working out any little nicks or flaws within the fade. And continue to brush the hair and make sure that there's no extra hairs left. Get it as bald as possible. And as you're going throughout the haircut, if you can't tell like how long the hair is, and you don't know whether or not to use your 1/8 or 1/16, just use the longest clip first, and if it's not cutting, just work your way downwards. So now you will be taking the corner of your Andis blade and you'll just be dabbing at the hairline. You don't want to push it back too far because when it grows back it looks really ugly. So you just want to dab it and just clean it up, follow the original hairline, and just continue to blend out the fade. So next we will be straight razoring the lineup. We'll be using a Black Magic straight blade, and we will be crisping out the edge up. So you want to pull the skin and just use the straight blade to go in the opposite direction and just go against the hairline and make it as crispy as possible. So continue to pull and just go the opposite way and keep the blade as flat as possible to prevent from cutting your client. And just continue to work the hairline and take a step back every here and there to make sure it is as crispy as possible. After you are done with the straight razor, just dust off your client and we move on to the finishing touches. We will be using the WAHL 5-star shaver, and you will just bald out the very ends of the blend. Whatever you use to hit with the balding clipper and the T Outliner, just go over that with the WAHL 5-star shaver and just get it as bald as possible. This shaver makes the haircut last a few days longer, and by personal detail you can see how clean the haircut is with this balder. Lastly, we will be using a pair of scissors just to clean up the hairline of the client that the T Outliners couldn't get. So you're just going to use the scissors and run it across the hairline and just clean it up as nicely as possible. Dust off your client, give them the mirror, let them see what it is. Shout out to Good Few for the stickers, and yeah, just show your client his haircut and make sure he is happy, and voila, there you have it, a 3 on top with a mid bald fade, crispy and ready to go. I just want to thank you guys for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed. Follow me on IG at craythebarber. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want to critique anything, just let me know. See you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed.
It burns?
Yeah, that shit burns.
The beauty is real. Gosh damn, Daniel.